Hey, it's Kim. Thanks for clicking on today's video where I'm going to be going over my digital reading journal. In a not so old video, I talked about my quarterly planning update, and I explained that my reading journal has shifted into something completely different. And I did get a couple of requests to show the reading journal. Honestly, I was going to show the digital reading journal anyway, but I did get a couple of requests, so I kind of bumped it up, on the list of things to do. And I'm ready to show you all what I have going on with my digital reading journal at the moment. So I did explain in that video that I built it myself. I put it together. It wasn't too difficult. And I'll go over how I did that soon when we get into all the pieces and the parts. But this is the cover that I have. But I am going to walk you through what my reading journal looks like now, and I will compare it to my previous reading journal that I had in an actual physical book. So grabbing that real quick, this is my physical reading journal on which I do have a couple of videos on my channel, and it is housed in an A5 Stalogy, and I've been doing this for the past few years since 2021. So my plan was to use this entire book for several years, fill it up until I had no more space, and then move on to a new A5 size book or whatever size book I deem appropriate at the time. So what happened was, I'll give you some backstory. I was very far behind in setting up. I didn't even finish all of 2023, and I needed to set up my reading journal for 2024. So I was just so super far behind. I haven't even updated some of these spreads. I never did this layout to show all of the books I did read in 2023. I wanted to set up my reading journal for 2024, and I felt like this was a good opportunity, especially since I was like 5 to 6 months behind schedule. It was a good opportunity to just try something completely new. I thought about doing it digitally, and then I did a bit of research to see if that was a thing. Turns out it is definitely a thing. I went down that rabbit hole of how to create it and how to use it, and here is where we landed. So the first thing I do want to kind of, I guess, show you in comparison to this physical reading journal would be the things that I wanted to make sure I have in the digital format. Some of those spreads and some of that information that I've been capturing, I wanted to make sure I was doing that as well in the digital version. So I basically figured I'd try out digital. It was something new, something I could see myself doing, because it's not like one of those planners that I'm in every single day for that purpose. I would strictly be a paper planner, but because it's a one-off, maybe once a week, even less than that, doing it digitally seemed really fun. Also, being able to put together the book mood boards and all of that without having to print actual images sounded a lot easier to me, if I'm being completely honest. So that's how we landed on the digital version. So like I said, I went down that rabbit hole, saw that there were so many other types of digital reading journals, and I saw examples of them on YouTube and on what I think it was just YouTube. I don't even think I've looked at like Instagram or anything for digital reading journals yet, but that's how I ended up here. So I did want to research how to put it together for myself, like I said, and I think I'm going to switch to doing a screen recording because of the weird lighting that we have going on. So I'm screen recording just in case this doesn't work out. Oh, so I thought that it would be fun, actually, to kind of put it together for myself. And I was able to find some tutorials on how to build a digital planner in Canva. And that is what I used to build this one that I'm showing you today. Since then, however, because I have experience with other graphics designs kind of software, I personally find it easier to use other software platforms, but Canva is a free option if you wanted to try this out yourself. I honestly feel like almost anyone can build this for themselves. I think there are some limitations with Canva. I mean, I do have the Pro account, but even aside from that, I feel like you can't do over a certain number of pages in a PDF. And that's really what the basis of a digital journal is. It's an interactive PDF. So it has hyperlinks that you click around inside of. So there is a limitation with Canva, no matter whether you have the regular free account or the paid pro account. I believe the max might be like 300 pages. It could be 200 pages. I don't know. I haven't explored it for that reason. And also just because I'm used to using a different application to do this, I have started to fiddle around and kind of redo this one that I created in a completely different version or a completely different software, because that user interface is just what I'm more used to. So I do have a cover page here, and it just says reading journal, books read in 2024, and everything I have in here, including all of the fonts, are things that I found on Canva. So nothing super special. So the first thing that I created is this, I guess I'm calling it a homepage. I don't really know, but this is the first thing that I did create. And before I get into that, I guess I should tell you what equipment I have. This is an iPad Air, and it's the 10.9-inch version. And I do have the Apple Pencil, the second generation. So this is the second generation Apple Pencil, and I have this cover that I picked up from Amazon on there. I'll link everything that I'm mentioning in my Amazon store if you're interested. So this first page is what I'm calling the home page. And I have a few links here that'll take me to different sections of the planner. Also, over on the left-hand side, which you can see, I do have this area over here with a bunch of icons that also take me to different places within the digital journal. So on this page, I have a link to the homepage. This is the homepage, and I have a link to the homepage on here. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just do. And I also have a link to the index, the library, and then I created sections for which I assume I may want to create notebooks. So they jump around. I can jump around through like each of these notebooks if I decide to name it something or call it something or use it for something. I had enough space and I created 8 of them. So that's also what I have down here in this bottom right hand section. These also all link to the notebooks that I created. So up on the top right with these icons, there's the home, and then the next one is the index. And here is where I set up different spreads that I wanted to make sure I was using, that I was taking from my actual physical reading journal, and making sure that that was also included in my digital reading journal. So I do have a page for reading goals, and I haven't fully set up everything in here as of yet, actually. And I copied in my goals for like how many numbers of books I wanted to read, how many numbers of days per month I would like to read, at least 15 per month. I think that's reasonable. And then I also put in this number of pages. I don't know that I have like a page number goal at the moment, or like even an hourly goal at the moment. I have to do a little bit more thinking about what my goals are for 2024. And yes, even though it's July, I'm still going to fill this in. So up at the top so far, I only have get back into the habit of reading consistently. So here, that's where we are. I'm excited about this reading journal. So that is helping me get back into the habit. Also, I want to read more nonfiction books. And like I said, I'm sure there will be other goals that I want to incorporate or add as I give it more thought. So the next thing is my annual reading tracker, but I want to take you back to the index because I have that linked here. So that's the annual reading tracker, and that is the same as this spread that I have here in my reading journal. And I'm showing you the layouts from 2022 because all of those were completed, unlike 2023. So I did track for each month and each day what days I read, because I want to see that I'm reading a large majority of the year. So I did create a similar layout in my digital reading tracker, and I'll zoom in a bit and you can see that I also have been writing down the number of pages that I've been reading for each day that I've been reading. This is something I've always tracked in the notes app on my phone. Like I'll write down the day that I read, how many pages I read, what book it was that I read from, if I'm reading a couple of books at a time. So that's how I go back in and fill in this actual spread. And then the next one, also, it still links from my index page, but the next one is the monthly reading tracker. And I haven't filled in anything yet. I did May partially, but I haven't filled in the other, and June partially. So here's where I am calculating the number of days I've read, the number of books I've read, and the number of pages. This page count layout is something that I like to see as well. For each month, I want to see like how many pages I'm reading per month. So this monthly reading tracker that I put into the digital reading journal is a way for me to see that as well. But I do also have this spread where I do have a bar graph that I can fill in for page counts. So I do know I did 711 pages in May. So let's go in and fill that in. So May, and then I'll go up to like around the 700 mark. I think I want a straighter or thicker highlighter for that. So starting from around 700 again. I don't like the way that looks. So starting from 700 and then just going down with my highlighter and holding it so that it snaps to a straight line. That's where I'll have the bar chart. So this is very physical. It's nothing that can actually do the calculations for me. Trust me, I looked into seeing if there was some type of thing that you can put into a PDF that does calculations for you. I've not yet found anything. I was about to say I'm not going to code anything to do it either. I'm not entirely opposed to doing that, but I haven't quite found an easy solution to do that. So until I do find that, I have been just manually, or I will be manually doing that with the highlighter tool. So then the next thing I do have is a Goodreads tracker. And I actually drew this grid in myself because I wasn't sure how I wanted to display it. I do have that in my physical book. So I set a goal for myself back in 2022. It was 30 books. This year is 36. I know I'm only at 5. I'm really shooting for the stars here, but I think I'm going to be able to do it. Either way, I will color in each of the boxes when I read that book. So that's how I have this set up. This is not linked to anything else. It's just something that I wanted to create to have a visual of what it looks like when I'm getting or approaching that Goodreads reading goal. So then the next thing I do have is a TBR list, which I don't have anything on at the moment. I do have a TBR list, and I should, let me see. I want to put in, because I want to do The Silent Patient. My daughter and I are going to be reading that together, I think. So I'll add that to my TBR. And the way I'm doing it is just taking the little image from Safari and then moving it over here to the digital reading journal, putting that in that little space or that little spot that I've designated for it, and that's it. So that's where I will house all of my TBR. And honestly, my TBR is very extensive, so I think I'm just going to go through my list in my Goodreads account to see like what's at the top of my list at the moment, and that's how I'll fill in the rest of this from the TBR. So going back to the index, we have a series tracker. So when I read series, and I really do love to read series, but when I read them, I like to do kind of like a little synopsis of what I thought about the series as a whole. So that's what I intend to do here. This is the one that I started because this is the current book that I'm reading, or the current series that I'm reading. But I will have a series tracker for other series as well. Now, I did wonder if in this future version, or this like reading journal, digital reading journal .2 that I will be putting together, if I want to have just a list of all the series and then click on that to go to this specific series. I don't know. But for the moment, when I do have another series that I want to put in here, I'll just duplicate this page to add a new one behind here. And that's how I'll have all of my series tracker pages grouped together. So then I have an anticipated release, which I haven't filled in. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in like list or chart format. The way that I did it previously, I think for 2022, I didn't have one. And then for 2023, wait, did I have one for 2022? Anyway, for 2023, I did it like this and just had a box for each month. And I wrote in the books that were coming up that I heard about that would be released and categorize them by month. So I'm going to do the same thing in this spread. I just wasn't sure how I wanted it to be presented, but I think I'm going to do the same thing. Just do like a box for each month and go from there. And if I, for example, kind of draw, I'm not going to do it here because then I'm going to have to like evenly space everything. Oops. But this would be like a good example of me drawing a grid. And I'm filling it in. And I'll probably do and make sure I have like 6 boxes on each side so I can have a box for each month. Or maybe I'll do the grid completely differently. I'm not sure exactly how I'll choose to do that. But I'll keep you posted. I'll definitely do an updated video to show you everything that's in here. But that is another one of those spreads that I do like to keep on hand, and I will get back to. I also created a wish list spread, which I have never had in my physical reading journal. And I don't know. I don't know how much I'm going to use it, especially like how is it going to be different for my purposes, different to like a TBR. But we'll see. We will see, especially like if I get like a gift card or something, maybe going directly to my wish list is something I could write down. And now that I'm thinking about it, the books that I do tend to buy that are actual physical books would be those nonfiction books. So maybe I would use the wish list more heavily for those nonfiction books that I would need to buy like in a store or online. All right, so the next section I have are a few more templates. I have like the book review template, and this is not linked. You'll see in another section I have all of my book reviews linked to the actual library, but that's a blank one if I need extras. And then I do have this index of reviews, or a review index. So for all of the reviews I've done so far for that measly 5 books I've read this year so far, I have linked each of those spaces in the index. I'm already getting lost myself, but I've linked all of those spaces so that they can go directly to the actual review, because I found that for me, I tend to forget the things that I've read. So I wanted a place where I could just go and easily see the entire list of all the things I've read this year. Oh, and I will say that I built this to accommodate 48 books. So that means I would use one of these per year. So for me, I know I'm not reading more than 48 books in 1 year, at least at the moment. So I can like duplicate this for 2025, 2026, that way. Or if I do like build like a master V.2 version 2 of this, I may make it so that it can house reviews for like hundreds and hundreds of books. We'll see when we get there. But when I go to the actual book reviews, up at the top, I have some of these icons, and one takes me to my goals. So that's where that reading goal page is. And then I want to show you all of these. One takes me to the goals. One takes me to the trackers, which I've shown you, like those annual trackers. This other one takes me back to the review index. And then another one up at the top, the 4th one from the right, takes me to my favorite quotes. The 5th one takes me to, what is that? Oh, my series tracker. So that if I'm on this page and I've written it in, like maybe I need to, like after I've done the review, I know it's part of a series, so I'll just jump right to the series tracker to add in what series it's a part of. So that's why I have that there. Oh, and this middle one I might as well show you. That one is for favorite quotes. So I do know that I would like to, what am I doing? I would like to add favorite quotes. I do sometimes have them. So I wanted to have the ability to have a place to write them down. So I think what I would do is like little boxes so that I can write in the quotes, and then maybe like some kind of graphic related to the book I would put here. But that's why I left this spread blank for the moment, because I'm not sure exactly how I want to use it. So going back to those reviews, I don't know why I'm going to it this way, but going back to those reviews, and then the last icon I have up here that's linked to each of the reviews is to click on library books. So I do write down which books I've gotten from the library, when I borrowed them, when I returned them, and I do have a section for the genre. I'm not sure if I even need that on this spread. As I am in here and using it, that's when I will develop my own personal thoughts and likes about what I have. So those spreads are not things that I had in my physical reading journal. So I didn't have that library list. Oh, my series tracker looks completely different. I had that at the beginning of the reading journal. So these items at the beginning of the reading journal, because this entire book was going to span a few years, these items in the beginning were things that were not year specific. So the series tracker was not year specific. So this is where I was writing down all of those series that I've been reading. And this needs to be updated, but I will put all of that into the series tracker inserts that I have over here. And that's why I felt like I needed to have kind of an index for the series so that I can just click on that and then it takes me to the actual page that gives the actual review for the series. Haven't done that yet, but I'm sure that will be in the next version. And then I do have a sheet for a mood board. So because I like to kind of print out other photos or images that kind of jogs my memory to remind me of what the book was even about, I wanted to have a space to do the same thing for a specific book review. So what I will do is, for instance, I can actually show you the library. So here's where the library is. And if I wanted to take, like, let's say I'm clicking on this one and I want to do a book review or a mood board associated with this one. Oh, I did it here. I'll show you how I do it here though. So if I want to add or include a mood board, I just go up to here and, oh, I didn't copy the page. Still learning here. I'm still getting used to how I have all of this working. So I would, from this page, copy it, right? And then go over to my review, and then these three dots over in the top right, I want to, nope, that's not it. This plus sign right here, that's where I want to add a page. So not before this one, but after, and that's what I have selected there. And I'm just going to choose paste page. And it'll put that book mood board right behind this review. So that's how I intend to use it. Going back to that index, I also have, oh, I showed you the favorite quotes. And then I have a section for book club reads. I do have a book club I recently joined, and these are the books I've read with them so far. So I wanted a place to just categorize all of those books. The same for buddy reads. Like I told you, I'm going to be reading a book with my daughter. So actually, I feel like I can copy this image and then take it over to that Buddy Reads page and paste it here. So I would leave that image there, showing that this is in my Buddy Reads list. So here are my book club reads and my Buddy Reads. That is not a section that I had in my reading journal. I was going to add, oh, here, I do have a book club spread, and this was supposed to be for 2023, but it didn't happen. So that is the same here. I definitely want to have a place where I can note what I'm reading in a book club or with a friend. And that's the point of that. Now, going back to the index, what else do we have? We have that list of library books, which I showed you. And I also do have a recommendations list. So if anyone tells me, oh, this is a great book, make sure you read it. I'll put it on my recommendations list if I don't have time to kind of look into it. I'll park it here and then go back and reference that if I'm looking for something to add to my TBR or looking for something to download. So that's what's there. And then at the bottom of this page, I do have notes pages that I can use for whatever. Like I can fill them in. When I mentioned those notebooks that I created, for instance, I can copy this page and then go over to this first notebook. And then right after this, I'll add in that page that I just pasted. So right after this first section, I added in this dot grid and I can use this to write whatever I want. Take notes on whatever I deem necessary to be included in a notebook inside of my digital reading journal. All right, and then I do have a link to my website down at the bottom for me, just because. All right, so the next icon over here on the right is the library. I just scrolled over and it took me there, but if I go back, for instance, to any other page and I click on this book over on the top right, it'll take me to my library. And like I said, I do have space for 48 books, and all of these do link to, when I tap on the book images, it'll link me to the actual review for that specific book. So going back to the library, if I click on this last box over here in the bottom right, it goes to this book review. It currently doesn't have a book in it right now, but when it does, it'll link directly to that book. And then down here at the bottom, I have these numbers in the center, and those do link to the other pages in my library. So I have 12 on each sheet, and there are 4 pages in the library, therefore space for 48 books. All right, the next part of the digital reading journal are my monthly spreads. Now, my monthly spreads, which I did do for all the years I've been in here, I like to show when I'm reading what. So I want to see visually how long it took me to read which books. And in this monthly spread that I did for 2023, I also had at the bottom where I was doing the page counts for each day. So not in that overall annual tracker that I showed you in the 2022 version, but this is where I was capturing that information. And also I was capturing it in this spread as well. But on the monthly, I want to see what I read and how long it's taking me to read. So far, I think I've only done the monthlies for June and July. So I do have where I put like the little image for the book that I'm currently reading and a line to denote like how long it's taking me. Also, I plugged in here my book club meetings. I just created this little sticker. I drew them out and then copied it as a sticker and put those on my book club days. Now, I do intend to create my own kind of sticker pack, my own colors of pens and highlighters so that they all coordinate and they all go together, but I haven't done that just yet. But on each monthly spread, I've just been writing down one, like a goal that I've had that I want to accomplish. I would say that was done. And kind of the mood for the month. I've done a little bit, and that really just goes along with the books that I'm reading, just to make everything color coordinated, and the little image of the books, like I said. So for July, I did set this up not too long ago. So my goals are the same, like continue with my evening reading routine, plan to catch up on my Goodreads goal. That's what I'm trying to do. And incorporate more audiobooks. And I'm actually incorporating more audiobooks in order to catch up on my Goodreads goal. I feel like I tend to go through books quicker when I'm listening to them, but I can only listen to them when I'm doing work that doesn't require a lot of deep focus. So like, answering emails or a part of my position is like reviewing reports. I can kind of do that type of stuff with my eyes closed, so I can listen to an audiobook while doing that type of thing. So that's what I've been doing, or that's how I've been incorporating more reading journals. So this page, the monthly pages, do link to other things. So up at the top right, I have a little icon where it'll link to the trackers. So right from that monthly spread, I can go right to my, well, the first one was my goals, and fill in if I wanted to like update my progress tracker right in the middle. I can do that there. And then also the middle icon takes me to all of my trackers. So I have that annual reading tracker, the monthly, the page counts, and all the other trackers that are in line after that. And then going back, the one in the top right that goes to my index. Yes, my index of reviews. So that takes me right over here. And my idea is that after I finish a book, let's say in July, the current one that I'm reading, once that's done, I'll go right over to here to the index and then write it there. I can do that here, or if I'm actually on the review, I can also just use the icon up at the top to write it into the review index. So that I'm making sure I'm capturing them when I do them. So I have a spread for each month, and that's pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward. And then as you're scrolling, the next thing that comes up are the notebooks. So that pretty much outlines all of the pieces and the parts that I currently have in this digital reading journal. And needless to say, I do love it, and I'm really excited about how I'm going to use this and how I'm going to update it. Like I said, I want to do stickers that I can use and reuse, like digital stickers, to help with the vibe that I have going on for this year. That's also another thing I know about myself. The reason why I only made it 48 books is because likely in 2025, I'm going to want to go with a different color scheme, a different vibe. So, I'd have to change all the colors. So I also thought that maybe version 2, I would have less color. So not even like these things here on the index, not these things here on the home page, just like non-color at all, so that I can continue to reuse it and customize it any way that I like. So I've been really happy with my reading journal so far. I have absolutely no complaints. I'm loving it. And I'm excited to add more features and more details and everything to this as time goes on, as I continue to use it. And I actually did have the thought to sell this. Yes, I may be selling a digital reading journal. Of course, my philosophy with selling anything is that I'm only going to sell things that I would actually use. So I need to use this to see what updates I want to add for that, like version 2. And that is when I'll perfect it and put it together. And also, like I said, I feel like there were some limitations in doing this through Canva that I would like to rectify by using a different kind of software, a more specialized software for this purpose. But so far, the reading journal is a love, and I'm really into it, and I'm excited to see where this goes. If you have any questions, definitely reach out. Feel free to let me know. Ask them down below, and I'll get right back to you. And I thank you so much for following along on today's video. I'll also, like I said, try to link anything I mentioned down in the description box. I think that pretty much covers it all. Thank you so much for following along on today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.